afternoon, and welcome to the Fort Bend Voter News. My name is Cameron Hill, and I'm with and part of the Fort Bend Election News Editorial Board. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Cameron.
Uh, let's introduce yourself and why are you running?
Well, my name is Lawerence A. Allen Jr. I'm currently on the State Board of Education where I believe, improving my skills to prepare for the next step. And I'm running so I can be a true representative of all the people. Again, as I said, I've been an elected official for 18 years, and I believe I know what it takes to be successful, especially operating in a minority situation. So my record speaks for itself, and I believe the voters would understand that he can work on both sides of the aisle.
That sounds great. First
Question. Once elected, what will be your top priorities?
Well, Cam, I'm a retired educator. I served in the Houston Independent School District for 36 years. So my top priority will always be education. You know, like I know, that our children have experienced a tremendous learning loss due to this pandemic. And we must keep that the main focus. So I intend to work extremely hard in making sure that we have the resources necessary to give our children the supports to close that gap, that learning loss during this pandemic.
That sounds good. Next question, Mrs. Denise Joshua Fleming.
Wonderful. What is your vision for economic development and growth?
Thank you, Denise, for that question. You know, sitting in the State House, you have to be like Wells Fargo. You have to be like, one of our Bank of America. You have to be the person that can bring the financial resources back into your community where you can work then with your Chamber of Commerce. You can work with others in the local community who are boots on the ground and know the needs of the constituents in that area. So I realize that we must have true conversations, real conversations about how to build the economic program or the platform. One is having a living wage. When we do engage with our business, we must pay a living wage and we must provide benefits. That's going to give us an economic boost, because if you spend where you live, your dollar goes further. So that's first and foremost, working with the others that are elected officials throughout the city, throughout the county, and making sure we make good decisions for all involved.
Thank you.
Next question, Ms. Alexandria Jack.
Yes, as Fort Bend becomes increasingly developed, how should the county think about growth?
Very good question, Ms. Jack. I grew up in Sunnyside, and so if you understand that that's probably one generation. After you get to a certain age and you determine that you'd like to buy a home, and then hopefully you're doing maybe better than your parents, but you want to live in Sunnyside. But they won't build the kind of home that you want to live in Sunnyside. So we've got to be forward thinkers in Fort Bend. We may be looking at the landscape right now and say, oh, things are well, but is it a place where my grandchildren will be able to live? Is it, and buy a home? Is it a place where my children will be able to live and grow up, or will they have to move out of the community because we didn't think forward about the development component? And we have to make sure that our infrastructure component, meaning not just 99, but how are we going to travel if we're talking county, not just this area? How are we going to travel? When I grew up, to get to Needville where my grandfather lived, we took 59 to 36. And it took us about an hour and a half. Well, it takes me about 15 minutes now because 59 is there. So we have to be forward thinkers and visionaries and think about transportation. You know, if you live in Houston, you can catch the bus. You can do a number of other things. But if you live in Fort Bend, you maybe have to set your appointment for that bus 2 or 3 days in advance. So we've got to look down the hours of time and talk about transportation and infrastructure.
That sounds great. In closing, please tell our viewers why vote for you.
Man, I certainly wasn't expecting to close so fast. I was just getting warmed up, but thank you. Thank you anyway. Well, let me be real honest with you. Why you should vote for Lawerence Allen. One, you should always vote and think about experience and what brought you to this point. Do you have a resume? This is a job. This is not a volunteer component. You know, it's not a service. It comes with a retirement packet if you can get to that point. And so if I'm retired, that means I intend to do this full time. I intend to do this 9 to 5. I intend to do it where you realize that this is what I've been planning to do. I didn't just walk here today and say, this is something that looks nice for me. I waited until I retired because I had to make a little bit more money to take care of the 5 children that I have and things of that nature. So I'm prepared. And why should you vote for me? Read and look at my record and see if I represent the people. Being a high school principal, you learn how to work with all people. Being a central office administrator, you learn how to represent the superintendent. And you realize that representation means not your ideas, but a collective thought about the best idea. If you're going to run a play, the running back runs the play. He doesn't do all the thinking. He goes through the hole because others know where to block. I know how to be a good representative. It does not mean I have all the answers, but it means I can execute the play. Again, my name is Lawerence A. Allen Jr. Everybody calls me Scully, and I'm running for the Texas House of Representatives, District 26.